Okay, we're now live. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of Person of the Week. This is basically what this show is you can come on if you have an indie slash fan film that you want to promote, or if you're a big star and you want to, talk about your experience, or if you just want to come on and express an opinion, you can do that. But today we have, for our first episode, we have Larry Cress from Multiversity Studios. Thank you for being here, Larry.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is very exciting.
Yeah. So we have a few questions for you. And then also I think anybody who wants to ask questions in the comment section while we're live can ask. But the first question is, will Punisher be R-rated?
That's hard. Probably, yes, but normally I don't put ratings, but yes, it would technically be R-rated if there was a rating. Probably.
Yeah. Will Punisher be played by an adult?
No. He will be played by one of my friends, probably.
Okay, hold on. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Anyways, so the next thing is, do you plan? Will Punisher? Will he still have the same origin? Like, his family dies and he still, becomes the Punisher because his family dies.
Yes. Yes, it is in essence the same origin, but there are a few changes just to make it a bit more different. And so people who know a lot about the Punisher or have seen the other two movies don't feel like they're seeing the exact same thing again. It feels a little fresh, but still very familiar.
Mm-hmm. Do you plan on making a season 2 to Spider-Man: Night of New York?
As of right now, no. I was very disappointed for what we turned out for season 1, and I think everybody, and I hope everybody else was too, because it was not the best we could have done. It was not what it should have been. There was a lot that we just simply did not film that was in the script, mostly because I either couldn't find actors for it or I was too lazy to. So
yeah. Will Punisher be canon to, like, in the same universe as Spider-Man: Night of New York, or will it sort of be like a rebooted Marvel universe?
Punisher is going to take place in a universe where there are no other superheroes but the Punisher.
Yeah, that makes sense because Punisher is very secluded.
Yeah.
And yeah. I guess I probably, there are other questions I had about this, but about Night of New York, but I guess they probably don't apply since at the moment they're not. Well, I guess I could ask them just in case.
You can still ask them.
Yeah. Would you, if you did make a season 2, would Gwen's death, spoiler, sorry, would it be an introduction to Mary Jane?
No, if we do season 2, the way I had it planned was Deborah Whitman would come in, but not as a love interest, as a helper and advisor to Peter and other characters.
Yeah. I always liked Deborah Whitman. I'm thinking about considering putting her in the Thunderbolts movie. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But let's see. What inspired you to make a film about the Punisher and not any other superhero?
That's a very interesting question. I wouldn't say I'm a huge Punisher fan, but there was something, I don't know. I listened to this podcast called How Did This Get Made? And they had an episode about Punisher Warzone, and the director of Punisher Warzone was on that episode. And it was just interesting hearing them talk about this character, and there was something about it that just really drew me to the character. And I was like, and when I realized I probably wasn't going to do season 2 of Night in New York, I was like, well, I've been wanting to do either an Avengers fan film, but I'm becoming more interested in doing a Punisher something. So it looks like I'm going to do Punisher.
Yeah, I've always been interested in Punisher. He's always been one of my favorite Marvel characters because he's the type of character who doesn't. Well, his motivations aren't revenge. His motivations aren't to make up for his family's loss, and his motivations aren't to protect the goodwill of others. His motivations are just to give bad guys what they deserve, pretty much.
Yeah,
and that's pretty unique for a superhero. And many people don't consider him to be a superhero. Many people consider him to be an anti-hero because of his motivations.
Yeah, and that's actually something I'm trying to explore in Punisher, in the Punisher, because there's going to be a few characters that knew Punisher before he became the Punisher, and they're gonna witness this change in him. That's gonna it's gonna highlight just what he's been through.
Yeah. Hopefully you don't add the storyline from the comics where the Punisher changes to black. There's actually a comic book where he got plastic surgery and he became a black person.
I did hear about that.
Yeah, have you heard of Linkara?
Yeah, yes, I do watch Linkara.
He does the Top the Fourth Wall. He did a review on his Top the Fourth Wall show of that comic.
I'll have to find that one.
Yeah. Anyways, if you do have a season 2 of Night of New York, do you plan on adding any other iconic villains? Because in season 1 you had Hobgoblin.
Yeah.
In season 2, would you plan on having any other villains aside from Hobgoblin, like Carnage, or any fan favorites like Venom, Carnage?
Well,
people like that.
Well, since I probably won't be doing season 2, and if I do season 2, it'll be very different than what I already have planned. So I'm just going to tell you what the plan was originally. So basically, the villain for season 2 was going to be the Scorpion, but the main conflict of the story was going to be Spider-Man. Was going to be Miles Morales versus Peter Parker. Because we teased that at the end of the last episode of season 1, which that is something that if we do season 2, that is something I'll definitely want to explore. What is the Miles Morales and Peter Parker having 2 Spider-Men? I was gonna give Miles Morales the name the Prowler because we make mention of his uncle in season 1. So I thought maybe he would take up the name for his uncle or something like that.
Yeah. Here's one idea. If you ever go with the idea of having Miles Morales be a second Spider-Man, this is just a suggestion. You could make him like Scarlet Spider.
Oh, that would work. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that was another question I was gonna ask. Like, if you ever had any plans to eventually make Miles Morales Spider-Man, that was another question I had.
Well, my plan was to, in season 2, set him up, and then in season 3 we were gonna introduce Spider-Man 2099, and then Miles and 2099 were going to go off into a Web Warriors show that I was going to make, or a movie or something, and they were going to team up with lots of other different Spider-Men. Yeah.
Now, what Action Inc. did was, with their first season of their fan series, after that, what they did was they announced they were going to continue it with Spider-Man Vengeance, which was going to be a fan film. So would you ever intend on doing something like that, like continuing it as a full-length fan film?
Yes, I have thought of that very, very hardly, but right now my main focus is Punisher. If we do a season 2 or some sort of continuation, it will be after Punisher. I have considered it.
Would you? What inspired the name Night of New York?
All right, so it's kind of a long story. I had a poll contest that was when I was naming the new film, I had like a bunch of different titles and I just couldn't decide one. I was like, you know what, I'll just let people vote on them. And the ones I had were Peter Parker, Spider-Man, The Undefeatable Spider-Man, The Fantastic Spider-Man, Spidey, and Spider-Man Night of New York. And Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and Night of New York were like the 2 most popular. So I ended up picking Peter Parker Spider-Man, but then it was brought to my attention there was another fan film going under that name.
Yeah.
And I decided, in order to be original, I would change it so that way there was just there weren't a lot of confusion going around about which Peter Parker Spider-Man was mine and whatnot. But,
I remember they did it. They did an apology video. I remember.
Yeah, that was very nice of him. He didn't have to do that. I was
He's
very
gonna be. I think he's gonna be on one of our episodes promoting his film.
well. If he is, I will definitely be watching.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, let me get to the next question. Do you plan on making? Do you plan on introducing any other Marvel characters into either the Knight of New York continuity or the Punisher continuity?
We have I have been talking to a few people, and they have said that. And I said if Punisher, I'm thinking about Punisher just being in a universe with no other superheroes, but if we were to introduce others, it would be street level heroes. There would be no Avengers. We'd have Daredevil,
Like Daredevil,
and
yeah.
Iron Fist and Luke Cage and stuff like that. We wouldn't have any
Netflix,
big names.
Netflix buddies.
Yeah.
Anyways, do you plan on making any films for any other Marvel superheroes, like any individual films?
I have considered Daredevil. But that probably won't happen. Deadpool is also one I've been interested in, possibly at some point, but not right now.
What villains are? I mean, if you don't have to answer this if it's spoilerish, but what villain? Well, if you can answer this, what villains were you considering putting into the Punisher?
Okay, so I'm gonna here's a bit of a scoop. It's not any villain from the comics. I decided to create a bit of my own sort of thing, just to add a bit of flair to it. And I also took a character from the comics, and I've changed a lot of characters from the comics just so they fit a little bit better into the story, but they will still be the same characters at heart.
It's John Travolta, isn't it?
Yes, you got me.
Yeah, John Travolta. His evil plan is to mispronounce everybody's name at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Anyways, so let me see if there are any questions from any of the live audience. Let me just get to. Hold on. Let me get to my channel. I'm gonna see if there are anybody who's asking any other questions. I'm just checking the comments. Not really many questions. I mean, there's just a couple people that have said hi and stuff like that. But one question I have is, do you plan on having microchip in Punisher?
Yes, but again, he'll be a little different than we know microchip to be.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit.
Will he have his son in it?
Punisher son or microchip son?
Microchip son.
No.
All right, let me think. If you ever continue with Spider-Man, do you ever plan on having a prequel origin?
I did consider that for a little bit, but it would be a very, very short film.
Yeah, and would you ever consider exploring his parents like the films did?
Probably not. No.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Let me think. Have you ever thought of, if you can, putting Aunt May in films?
Originally, basically the version I had of Knight of New York before this did have Aunt May.
Mm-hmm.
And there was going to be and I was going to put in a scene in Knight of New York where basically it was Aunt May had a heart attack at some point, and that Peter, through some legal loophole, was able to live alone. But I felt it would probably just be better if I just didn't even mention it.
Yeah, they did that with they did something like that with Bryce Cherney's Spider-Man 5. They said that Aunt May died and Peter just kind of went on the run, kind of like with Intractable.
Yeah.
Would that have happened? Would he have gone on the run or?
Well, no, probably not. It was going to be like a heart attack of some kind, or she passed away by natural causes. But I would say no. There was going to be and the way we were going to say that Aunt May was dead and Peter could live alone because of a legal loophole, because we were going to have a cameo from Matt Murdock, but I could not get an actor that I felt could be Matt Murdock and Daredevil, so I decided just to cut it.
Have you ever considered putting J. Jonah Jameson in one of the films?
Yes, there was 2 or 3 versions before Night in New York. There was a heavy Daily Bugle subplot.
I wasn't sure if it was Harry or Roderick Kingsley, but the person who became Hobgoblin in Night of New York, why did Oscorp choose him out of like all the others?
So here's the thing. That was Eddie Brock. And it was going to be Roger Kingsley. The script was written that Roger Kingsley was a criminal who was part of a criminal organization led by Janice Lincoln, a.k.a. the Beetle. And he was going to break into Harry Osborn's house, but Harry Osborn was going to beat the crap out of him and turn him into the Hobgoblin, his own personal soldier, to send Roger after Beetle to kill her for interfering with him or something. I can't remember exactly, but it's in the script. But and Eddie was going, and there was actually 2 female characters. Originally it was Gwen and Liz Allen, and Liz Allen was going to have a crush on, Spider-Man was going to have a crush on Liz Allen, but I ended up turning the Gwen character into the Liz Allen character for the show when we lost our actress for Liz.
Now, a lot of fan films have been introducing the Sinister Six. Did you ever intend on doing that?
Oh, yes. Back when I was making a fan film called The Heroic Spider-Man, there are still videos on my channel where I talk about it. All of that was gonna be a lead up to the Sinister Six. It was gonna be Amazing Fantasy, The Origin, Hero of Menace, which is gonna be Molten Man, Rhino, and it was gonna introduce the black suit, and then 3 was gonna be Symbiotic, was going to be called Spider-Man Symbiotic, which was was Mysterio and him versus the sort of Sinister Six, and then Heroic Spider-Man 4 was the Heroic Spider-Man Sinister Six.
Now getting back to Punisher, in the comics, they say it's explained that Frank Castle fought in the Vietnam War. Will that be included in the Punisher fan film?
He will have been part of the military, not Vietnam specifically. Probably fight in Al Qaeda or something like that around there.
Would you ever intend on having a Stan Lee cameo in like archive footage, like maybe like taking a clip from another film and putting it in there?
Yes, I have. I'm going to try to work something out where I can get that in the Punisher somehow.
Yeah. Now, obviously, in Spider-Man Lost Cause, they had the one scene where they played I Just Want to Be a Superhero while everybody kept talking about Spider-Man. Would you intend, and since then a bunch of fan films have done that, like Green Rock 44's Spider-Man Born a Hero, and also Spider-Man Hero of New York, which was made by Brandon B. Productions. Would you ever think about doing something like that?
I have thought about doing it for Punisher and possibly the sequel to Night in New York, but I'm not sure in what capacity I would use that. It'd probably be something like a news anchor interviewing people about the Punisher, but I can't see it fitting into the script I have right now for Punisher. Maybe Punisher 2. If we do Punisher 2.
That was what I was going to ask, if you had plans to do a Punisher 2.
Yes. Right now I do have plans.
This just in, everybody. We have an exclusive scoop. Larry Cress confirms Punisher 2.
But that's if we finish Punisher 1, which we will finish Punisher 1, but
yeah. Have you ever thought about doing films for DC characters?
I have one on my channel. It's called Brave/Bold Pilot. It's a in case Night in New York didn't work out and we didn't know what to do, we would do a show called Brave/Bold, which was going to be a Flash Green Lantern team up show and they took place in a world where Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman were dead, and they were going to be trying to form a Justice League to combat the alien threat that was returning to kill the rest of the superheroes.
Would Nightwing have been in that?
No.
Would Nightwing have been in that?
No. The team we had in place, or the team that at least I had thought of was. Hold up, I have a list of it. Here it is. Okay. We had Flash, John Stewart, Green Lantern, Firestorm, The Atom, Supergirl, The Huntress, and Mr. Miracle.
Now we have a few questions from the comments section.
All right.
First of all, we have the 10th Dimension asks, when is his Punisher film coming out?
I'm gonna say I want to try to probably early summer, hopefully.
And the 10th Dimension also asks, what are your thoughts on the Spider-Man script that was leaked, the supposed Spider-Man script for the new Tom Holland movie?
I'm not sure if I've heard about that actually. What was all was in it? What all was detailed in it?
Yeah, I think I made a video about it. It was reported by the Comic Book Cast, and it's not true. It was revealed by Reddit, which can sometimes be true and sometimes be false. One thing that they did say was true was they said the deleted scene from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 where they showed Norman's head in a jar, they reported that to be correct. Mm-hmm. However, they also reported that Dylan O'Brien was signed up for 4 Spider-Man films, and that turned out to be false. But what this guy from Reddit had said, the description he gave was that J. Jonah Jameson is going after Spider-Man, so he hires all these villains to basically go after Spider-Man. And this is where you see a cameo from a bunch of Spider-Man bad guys. And Norman Osborn also he's apparently the big bad. He believes that Spider-Man is his creation. So he teams up with JJ, and so then they keep looking through all these bad guys, and finally they decide to go for the Scorpion, Matt Gargan, because they explain that Matt Gargan is a private investigator like Jessica Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So he was going to become the main villain. They were going to make him Scorpion. At first, Spider-Man would humiliate him, and Scorpion would eventually start losing his sanity as the film went on, and Osborn would keep injecting him with some more, juice that would make him stronger. And then eventually, JJ would realize, okay, this is getting way out of hand, and then he would team up with Spider-Man just to save his own career. And so then they would defeat the Scorpion, and then at the very end of the movie, Osborn would kind of hint that he was becoming Green Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
So
that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I like the Scorpion. I've been saying he needs to be the villain in the new movie for a little while now. Played by Jake Gyllenhaal. But yeah, I'm not. That sounds like it could be good. I'd have to see.
Yeah.
Then again, it could not be real, but
yeah.
Sounds.
I think the shared universe, the fact that there are other superheroes in that universe, is either going to be the saving grace of the movie, or it's going to be the nail in the coffin. Because the thing is, one of the reasons a lot of people didn't like Iron Man 2 was because they felt they just relied way too much on Marvel references to other Marvel heroes. But at the same time, you could easily... The thing about the Raimi and Mark Webb films is, while they were good, Spider-Man is the only superhero there, so he's kind of the most important person in New York. But the thing about the MCU is you have a ton of other superheroes that kind of make Spider-Man less important, and that way you could make Spider-Man more of a relatable character, which is what he was in the beginning. That's how he became popular. So I wish they would rely a little bit more on superheroes, on on the fact that Spider-Man is kind of a wannabe hero compared to the Avengers in that universe. But I mean, I thought it was decent. I mean, it wasn't as bad as the supposedly leaked Civil War script.
Yeah, I actually did hear about that leaked Civil War script. It was very generic.
Yeah, it was one-dimensional. Like, because in the comics, it kind of ruined the fight between and what's his name, Captain America, by just making Baron Zemo the main villain. But well, not just making him the main villain, but also saying that he was the guy who set it all up, rather than them just fighting for their morals.
And that's the thing, is that I really can't see how they're going to fit Baron Zemo in with everything else they've got going. There's so much they're going to have to do in one movie.
Well, the thing is, to be fair, they could have him at the beginning of the movie before Iron Man and Cap fight, because they are going to have Crossbones at the beginning of the movie before they fight. At least I'm judging that, because the leaked description of the D23 trailer, it was kind of the same as the trailer we just saw, except there were two things that were different. At the very end, they actually showed Ant-Man, and also at the very beginning, they're talking. They actually are about to fight Baron. They're about to fight Crossbones, and Crossbones mentions Bucky before they reunite. And considering Bucky, it's looking like he has a big role in that film, I'm guessing that's probably at the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah. My only hope is that Cap doesn't just fight because of Bucky. Because part of the thing about the Civil War comic is Iron Man part of the reason it was so great was because Iron Man represents the modern, more advanced society, the guy who thinks things need to be more fun and hip and everything, and Captain America is kind of the we need to keep everything traditional type of guy. So it's almost like the yin and the yang type of relationship. I hope they don't mess that up. But what are your thoughts on Tom Holland as Spider-Man?
I like him. I think he's an interesting choice. I'm very excited.
Who's your top choice?
My top choice, if it was a younger Spider-Man, I was saying Asa Butterfield, just because I like him as an actor. I'm a big fan of his. Older, I know this is gonna sound kind of weird, but Grant Gustin from The Flash. Yeah. I think I just think he already basically plays Peter Parker on The Flash in a way.
Yeah. I heard about that, and I think he'd do a good job. The only thing is, because I think he has a contract with the CW, it might be hard to switch over. I mean, the only thing is, I know obviously Chris Evans played Human Torch and then Captain America, but by the time I think they casted him as Captain America, they were already planning a reboot to Fantastic Four.
Yeah. But I mean, if they had announced that Grant Gustin was going to be Spider-Man, I honestly would have been excited, but I would have been very upset, because that would mean The Flash was over, probably.
Yeah.
He had left the show, so I probably wouldn't. I would have been more upset than I was excited. So
yeah. I mean, a lot of people did you want an adult Spider-Man when they announced they were going to bring Spider-Man back? Did you want an adult version or a teen version?
No, I wanted a teenager.
Yeah, a lot of people said they wanted an adult, which I mean, I kind of like adult versions of characters. Like, obviously in the Spider-Man, we're gonna have an adult Peter Parker. But at the same time, they've never had a teen superhero in the Marvel Cinematic Universe before.
And he'll be except for Daredevil, he'll be the only superhero with a secret identity. So it's gonna be an interesting.
And he's probably gonna be. I'm hoping they make him the underdog, because part of what made Peter Parker so popular was his relatability with audiences. And in the classic comics, they basically said in the Steve Ditko Stan Lee comic books, there were times when Human Torch would come in and Spider-Man and Peter would say, "Hey, want an autograph from Spider-Man?" And the people would say, "No, we like Human Torch better." And that would kind of humiliate Peter. And I kind of hope they do that, where he comes in and he's like, "Hey, it's me, Spider-Man." They're like, "Oh, screw that. We got Iron Man. We got Thor. We got Hulk."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I did a report on this yesterday. James Gunn said he saw Civil War and he thought it was one of the best Marvel films.
Well, I mean, and I'm sure it's gonna be great, but of course he would say that. I mean, he's not gonna say it was terrible.
I pointed that out because directors, there have been times when people that work on film, when people like that do say some bad stuff about films. Like, for instance, Pierce Brosnan, who played James Bond, actually bashed Spectre, the new James Bond movie.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't think anybody would have the balls to do that before a movie came out. And you'll see that a lot of times. Terminator Genesis that came out this summer, that bombed. And James Cameron, who directed the original, he supported it before it came out. He said stuff like, "Oh, this is the greatest movie." Well, he didn't say that, but he said it was very. He said anybody who liked the classic, anybody who liked his Terminator films would like Terminator Genesis, and it ended up bombing at the box office. And the same thing went with Fantastic Four. The guy who wrote the Civil War storyline said it was going to surprise fans, and that fans would love it.
We were surprised.
Getting a 10% Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, we were surprised. Trust me, we were surprised.
Yeah. Well, he said we would surprise audiences. Well, he said that audiences would be pleasantly surprised. Well, we were surprised, just not pleasantly.
Not very pleasant, no.
No.
And I was so happy when I saw all those good reviews coming in from celebrities who saw the film early, and they were saying it was like some of the best, like it was like one of the best superhero movies they've ever seen, and out of 1 to 10, it was a 9, and I was like, yes, we're gonna get a good Fantastic Four movie. And then I saw it, and
there was one guy who was taking questions about the film, and because he had just seen it, and somebody said, "Do you think it will surprise fans?" And he said, "Yes, it will totally surprise fans."
Yeah.
And, whoops. Although I saw it, and I'll admit, it's not the worst superhero movie I've ever seen.
I'm gonna let you know my experience with that movie. Okay, so when I saw, when I saw that movie, I was with a bunch of my friends. And we were having a good time with it. We were laughing at the jokes that weren't very good. Like, it was more like whenever Human Torch would call Dr. Doom like Hitler or something, we'd laugh because those are jokes we would make. Yeah. But so we found that funny, and we were entertained by it. And I got it for Christmas actually because my parents think it's funny that I like this movie that just got panned, and I was watching it. I couldn't even get past the first hour.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Well, here's my thing. I saw it in theaters like the Monday after it came out, and here's the thing. It was bad, most definitely bad. However, there were superhero movies like Superman Returns that I thought were a lot worse.
Yeah.
If you asked me to sit through like Superman Returns or Ghost Rider or 2003's Hulk, I'd be like, no, kill me please, no, anything but that, no. But if like I was kidnapped and I was forced to watch the 2015 Fantastic Four movie, I'd be like, I mean, I guess there are better things I could be doing, but I guess it's worth living my life.
To be honest, I don't hate that last battle. Everyone says it's so generic, but I'm like, whatever. Yeah, it's generic, but it's at least I still find it kind of entertaining in a way.
I think that was, even though I didn't. Here's the thing. I think that was probably my least favorite part of it, though. What I think happened was I think it felt like the first half was Josh Trank's version, and then like through the end, Josh Trank just kind of like got all stressed out about all the scandals that were going on, so he kind of just rushed the ending.
Yeah,
a lot of people said it was just boring. I think the problem was it wasn't too slow. It was more so the opposite was the problem. It was too rushed.
It was
because it felt like it was only like an hour, and it wasn't even 2 hours long. And and I think it felt like they took out the middle of the movie. It's like they trimmed out the middle.
I feel like if maybe you didn't take as long for them to get their powers and you added another half an hour, don't do the 1 year later, do like a couple months later, and then show them growing as characters, show them interacting a bit more, just so and just a little bit here and there. Show them making a plan to go stop Doom. Like when Doom busts out, don't have them immediately go to the final battle. Give them like 15 minutes to prepare and like talk about a plan. Have a Guardians of the Galaxy moment. I mean,
and they tried to kind of have that when he says he's not stronger than all of us. He's like, well, he says he's stronger than any of us, and then he says, oh, he's not stronger than all of us. But I kind of thought that was going to be their pep talk moment when I saw that in the trailer. And that was kind of just a line that they threw out there.
But hey, the Thing looked awesome.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't like the Thing, though, because you couldn't see his penis.
I don't know why they didn't put him in pants. I really don't. I'm just confused by that.
Well, and he had no penis. It was like, it's just like, I remember the moment when he's like, oh, yeah, I'm totally getting used to this. And I'm like, yeah, right, dude. You don't have your thing. So
like, does he not?
I wouldn't get on your high horse too soon.
Does he not have to urinate anymore? I mean, that's the weird part to me. Is like, does he not have to urinate anymore? Does he not have to consume fluids?
I know, but how can he elope?
So weird.
I know, but it like answered a question for me that I never wanted answered.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get why they didn't just put him in pants. I mean, maybe they just thought it was too silly. But anyway, let's see if we have some more.
I actually pulled up the questions.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Let's see. What is your favorite Spider-Man meme? My favorite one was when Peter Parker was making a like muscle gesture. And he says, "I'm an adult," and it was from the '60s series.
There's one that's I gotta find it. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's the last scene from Have you seen The Force Awakens?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the last scene in The Force Awakens when Luke. Spoilers, by the way, when Luke Skywalker pulls down his hood, and and Rey shows him the lightsaber, and it was something like Rey is Spider-Man, and Luke Skywalker is Marvel, and they're finally joining each other, or like they're finally meeting each other face to face or something. It was funny. I'll have to see if I can find
there's
it.
Another one that I saw where it was from Ant-Man, and it has Spider-Man's face on Scott Lang, and he says, "My days of rebooting are over. What do you need me to do?" And then it has Marvel's face on Hank Pym, and Hank Pym says, "I need you to reboot."
Yeah, that's a good one. I think I have seen that one.
Yeah. And then there was another one like before they confirmed that Marvel was working on whatchamacallit, before they confirmed that Marvel was doing a new Spider-Man movie, or that they had kind of negotiated, there was this thing that said, there's this meme where Hank Pym says, "Oh, hey Scott, destroy Sony's contract with Marvel so he can be in the Avengers." And then Scott Lang gives the thumbs up as Ant-Man.
There's one other question right here. Yes. Dragon Duelist Studios says, "What superhero movie are you excited for?" All of them.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, all of them, pretty much.
I would say the one that I'm not excited for would be Fantastic Four 2, but they're probably not going to do that.
I think there was Fox released like their whole upcoming slate for like the next like couple of years, and Fantastic Four 2 is just not on there.
The only way I think they could do Fantastic Four now is if they did a TV series.
Yeah.
Like they could do like one on HBO where it could be like Mad Men, and they could have like a '60s version of the Fantastic Four. Because the reason they keep having to change the Fantastic Four is because in the original comic, what happened? Like a lot of people say, "Oh, why wasn't it like the comics?" The reason why was because in the comics, it had a lot to do with the space race with the Russians, and that just isn't going on anymore.
Yeah.
Like the reason they went into space and got hit by cosmic rays was because the Russians, they were having the space race. But if they went back to the '60s, they could actually do that. Like if they actually had a movie that took place in the '60s.
Yeah, I think what's his name? Max Landis wrote a script for Fantastic Four, and it was set in the '60s.
Yeah.
So do
and
that
also
one.
they have like if they wanted to do an X-Men crossover, they have X-Men First Class and they could have like an X-Men First Class crossover type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody said just yeah 100 Bombs Productions. Brendan was making a bunch. He was making Spider-Man Web of Legends. He commented something that when we were talking about the bad films, and he said just keep a knockout dart on you at all costs, and you don't watch those films.
Yeah, I just read that.
There's a lot of controversy with Netflix right now because they're taking off Young Justice.
Yeah, and they're putting on Catwoman.
No.
Haven't seen it. I know it's bad.
Yeah, the only reason I watched it was because I heard how bad it was.
I mean, maybe I can find to me, Ghost Rider is like one of my biggest guilty pleasures because I love Nicolas Cage so very much. Like I love him so much, and
Yeah.
he's just so goofy in that movie, and I just love it so much. I have it on Blu-ray. It's amazing.
Yeah. Let's see. What Spidey fan film are you most excited for 2016? There's this really handsome guy named Spectacular Spider-Man. He's making a fan film called The Spider-Man. No, just kidding. I would say for me, probably Spider-Man, maybe Spider-Man Vengeance. What about you?
Same actually. I'm very excited for Vengeance. I'm very interested. They just released some behind the scenes where two characters are in prison uniforms, like they're escaping, and Spider-Man is like just beating them up. And I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I hope
I like to see that.
What were your thoughts on the Spider-Man saga?
All around, I liked it. I really liked Avenging Spider-Man, so it's kind of hard for me that they're not making a sequel. But I thought it was pretty good. So I'm not sure it's my favorite. I'm not sure if it's my favorite thing made by Action Inc. though. But Vengeance will probably be pretty good.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the Spider-Man saga because there were times when Spider-Man acted a little bit out of character for one thing. Like when Spider-Man kept making blind jokes about Daredevil. I mean, I know he makes jokes, but I mean, it's like Spider-Man's making fun of somebody's disability. I mean, Spider-Man, you used to be inferior to all the bullies at your school. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, there was one that I thought was funny, but it's that they kept making them. There was one where Kingpin was just beating up Daredevil, and he was like, "Mess with someone on your own site" or something like that. And I was like, "That's pretty funny." But then there was one where where Daredevil's like, "I've got good news," and then he's like, "You're not blind anymore." And it's like, dude.
Yeah.
It's kind of like chill.
It got old after a while. It was like, okay, we get it.
We get it. He's blind.
You can't see.
And no offense to Mikey, but I'm sure he's a great guy. I don't think he's a good actor.
I kind of liked his acting. I mean,
he was better as Daredevil than he was Spider-Man. He has improved, but I don't think he was a great actor. He's improved, but
I think my favorite Action Inc. Spider-Man so far was the guy who played him in Avenging Spider-Man.
Yeah, he had a lot of charm.
Yeah, he had charm, but I heard he had trouble working with the studio, which is why they fired him.
Which sucks, because I was looking forward to 2, but
yeah. Well, he also, I don't know. Well, the reason I heard he had contractual problems because they said on Action Inc.'s website there was something that said it said oh, I'm trying to think. It said when they listed all the actors, and then they had the one guy who played him in Costa. They listed
Costa.
Costa there, and it said, oh, yada yada, he played Spider-Man and Avenging Spider-Man. But then also mentioned that the reason why they said, well, he was a good Spider-Man, but he never showed up, so that's the only reason why we're replacing him with Mark.
And now they're replacing Mark with this other guy.
Yeah,
I do like Mark, so I am a little sad to see him gone. But apparently, it's better for the vision of Vengeance.
yeah.
So that's
And Green
probably
Rock 44 is doing another reboot.
who.
Green Rock 44.
Yeah, I did see that. I have not watched the new era yet. I have not watched.
Yeah. Because it's not connected to that. It's a reboot.
Yeah, I knew he was gonna make a film sequel to it, but now it is a reboot. And I'm gonna be honest with you. And this is not. I'm sure it'll be a good film, but I think the title "Rising Age" is just terrible. Personally, but then again,
Yeah.
I also think Night of New York is a terrible title too. So it's okay. I think
I think it's just because a lot of people on YouTube, you run out of titles eventually.
Oh yeah, I wanted to call. Originally I wanted to call. I wanted to have one called The Marvelous Spider-Man, and now there's a Marvelous Spider-Man fan film. There's like 2 of them, I think. There's a bunch of amazing Spider-Man fans.
Yeah, I was lucky to have started in early 2015 because that was before anybody could get their hands on the Spider-Man.
You know what? You actually are pretty lucky. You had claimed the name The Spider-Man for yourself, because I actually was writing a script called The Spider-Man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, it's okay. The reason I scrapped it is because it was no good, But when I saw you had the title, I was like, okay, good. So someone else will at least use that title.
Yeah, and there were people after I had announced it. There were people that made like fan series. A lot of them didn't know that I had the title of Spider-Man, but they made like fan series, and I was like, because there was this one guy who basically came to me and he's like, "Oh, look, man, I didn't realize you had the title of the Spider-Man because back in like July I made a series called The Spider-Man." And I was like, "Okay, if it's a series, it's fine, just as long as you don't make a fan film out of it."
Yeah, I want to tell you a funny story. I want to say it was a comment on one of the trailers or teasers for Night of New York, and I got a comment. I don't know who made it, and it was. I laughed so hard when I saw it, but it said it was horribly misspelled. My guess is a little kid made it, but it said, "Can we please use the same title and costume as you were using? It'll be different, I swear," or something like that. It'll be different than yours, I swear. And I was like,
"Why would you want my title?"
I know, but I screenshot it and sent it to a friend of mine who I do YouTube stuff with, and he was like, "Look at this." I was like, "Look at this." He was like, "Oh my gosh, that's hilarious." And I ended up responding something along the lines of, I would wish you didn't use the title because I've had a few problems with the title, but so please, it's not like I can stop you, but please, I would prefer you didn't." And he was like,
"Yeah.
Oh, okay, but what about the costume?" It's like, well, and I didn't respond because I bought the costume from ZentaiZone.com. So it's not like I can stop you from purchasing something with your
I don't care who gets the costume. Although the costume in the Spider-Man is going to be slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be more street level. Well, he has a prototype suit, which is based off of the original comics, but then he gets a new suit. Because it's almost like The Force Awakens, where all the characters are older and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It starts out where he has with the younger Peter, and he has like the costume on and everything. But then later on, as the films go on, as the film itself goes on, he gets a new costume.
Mm-hmm.
I'm either gonna use I have like a short sleeve gray Spider-Man shirt with like a red Spider logo on it. I might use that shirt, or also I got a Future Foundation Spider-Man shirt for Christmas, so I might also use that.
Yeah, I actually I actually want to use this probably if we do some form of sequel for it. I found a Spider-Man Last Stand jacket that looks amazing.
Yeah,
and it's like legit. Where is it at?
Yeah, I was thinking about buying that one, but then I couldn't find one that was like cheap enough.
Yeah, but I'll have to save up money to get it because I just think it looks awesome.
Yeah. I won a contest from Brandon B Productions, and where I won his lenses, and I put them on one of my my masks.
Sweet. Oh, and there's this one too. That one looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Spider-Man jackets right now. Sorry. But yeah.
So DDS Studios says, "How old are you?"
Me?
Yeah.
Why do you want to know that?
I don't. He wants to.
I know. He wants to know, but I still want to know why he wants to know that.
Yeah.
Not sure if I should say that. I mean, I probably have videos where I say it, but I mean, still.
Yeah. I will be coming to your house shortly. Please state your name, age, and address so I can come to your house.
Where do you live? What's your latitude and longitude? Dude, what's your IP address? What's the password to your?
666-666-6666.
What's your social security number? What's your
666-666-6666.
But yeah.
And if you're looking for my address, I live on 666 Hellington Ave.
I live on I'm not telling you my address street.
Oh yeah, I've been there before. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, and I'm a part of an Instagram RP group called Illuminati Confirmed. They're actually not an Instagram group. They're actually a cult.
Oh, really? Sweet.
Yeah, called the Illuminati.
Oh, that's awesome. I've always wanted to be a part of the Illuminati.
Yeah. Do you? He says. Oh, we have another question from Brendan. Do either of you know where I can make a custom Spider-Man costume? Because I'm still trying to find somewhere to make some way to make a costume. Well, I believe you have like a T-shirt maker. You can like get a decal and then like kind of plaster onto a shirt.
Yeah.
I've done that before. Like when I have a The Spider-Man shirt, which I took to Comic-Con, which I wore to Comic-Con, and I used a T-shirt maker to make that. And then he says, what do you think of my recent fan film? Question for both of you. I don't mind criticism.
What fan film was it?
It is from DDS Studios. I believe it was Spider-Man Shin, maybe. Hold on. Let me just make sure. Let's see. Spider-Man Shin original version sucks. Oh, wait. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah.
While he's looking at that.
It's Ultimate Fantasy, The Chronicles of Spider-Man.
I started watching it. I did not finish it because I got busy.
Yeah.
And I honestly can't. And I think I was watching it while I was trying to do other stuff. So I haven't
finished watching it yet.
So yeah, so I don't really remember much of what was in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll watch it later today and
What do you think?
Comment.
What do you have you ever heard of Kriana Gierzhabot TV?
No.
Have you ever heard of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared?
I have heard of that, yes.
It's kind of like that, but it's even weirder. It's all in Polish, but they have like English subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
And so they you just have to put the closed captions on. But they say stuff that makes no sense. Like in the first episode, they say, okay, welcome to Smile Guy. Today we will teach you how to effectively apple.
That's awesome.
But it starts to get really, it's a great series because it almost, it mixes comedy with creepiness.
Yeah. Going back to the custom Spider-Man costume,
Yeah.
I know people from the RPC studio can make patterns. You just gotta have to look around. Dan the New Blood on Facebook does some. I was originally gonna get one commissioned by him, but I ended up just going with the one I found on Zentai Zone. But you can ask him about it. I'm not sure. I think he stated that he might not be doing custom orders anymore, but you you should definitely do that quickly. Look up the New Blood Studio on Facebook if you need one. It's $50 if you don't for a private pattern, so that way he can't sell it, and it's $20 for a pattern he can sell. Like to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Have you ever heard of Mr. Rebzion?
No, I have not.
Yeah, he's kind of a famous YouTuber. He might be on one of our episodes.
Sweet.
Also, I'd have to talk with Chris Lee about this, but I might get him on. He played Andros in Power Rangers in Space.
Oh, that's cool. That's one of my favorites.
Your favorite seasons, or?
Oh yeah, one of my favorite seasons. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you a fan of Power Rangers?
I was. I'm not as into it as I was.
Yeah.
Like a year or two ago.
Yeah. I wasn't really into it. I sort of got out of it until they had Dino Charge on.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dino Charge is a slightly better season, but like Nick, aside from Dino Charge, like Dino Charge is good, so hopefully that's a sign that Nick is getting better. But so far they haven't been doing that well with Power Rangers. Aside from that,
I mean, hey, it's going on. Apparently, it's going to Netflix next season.
That too, they debunked that. Sadly.
Oh, it is. Oh, I thought I thought that was legit.
No.
Dang. I was like
that, and I kind of believed it because Collider had also that's where they have a Collider movie talk with John Campea.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was legit, but it turned out to be fake. It's like with Latino Review, they reported all the stuff about the Spider-Man film that was incorrect, but at the same time, you can't say they're completely unreliable. Because a lot of what they said about Avengers Age of Ultron turned out to be true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they predicted that Hulk and Natasha would get together.
Yeah. I think I was actually really looking forward to going to Netflix. I'm like, now I can watch it again. I have not watched I watched maybe to episode 3 of Dino Charge, not because it was bad, but just because I was falling out of it. I was focusing on other things.
But it's a lot better than what were they called?
Super Mega Force was garbage.
Garbage to say the least.
Oh, it was just.
When Kara uploaded his history of Power Rangers Megaforce.
I did see that. I'm gonna have to watch that because those videos are very.
Yeah. It was hilarious. They were playing the clip where the one Red Ranger says, "Super Mega Force, that's a super mega win!" And then Linkara yells, "Super Mega, shut up!"
I mean, that's what everybody was thinking.
Try taking. You won't be able to spell. Yeah, try. If I took a shot every time they said legendary in Super Mega Force, then I wouldn't even be able to spell Power Rangers. Like, if I took a shot every time in that one season, in those 20 episodes, that they said,
legendary or
let's say Mega or legendary, I probably would think that Power Rangers started with the letter Z.
I liked legendary. I thought legendary sounded cool. Super Mega, but every single time they said Super Mega, I just like I can't.
I didn't mind legendary at first, but after a while, it was just like, okay, we get it. It's legendary. You don't have to remind us like 4 zillion times.
And then I don't know if you watch Super Sentai, but then the complete and utter incorporation of random Sentai and Die Ranger and Goggle Man and
I'm making a Power Rangers fan series.
Yes, I am excited for that.
It's going to be an adaptation of Go Busters.
I love Ghostbusters. I haven't seen all of it, but I love Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it's kind of an adaptation of that. With a few changes. Like, how in Go Busters, the one Red Ranger, like, they all have powers.
Yeah.
And like the one Red Ranger was like the guy who used to be a Power Ranger and then he comes back. It's somewhat different from that. Like, they do say his like parents were killed, and he does have a sister. But in this, rather than being a Power Ranger, at first he's he's like a recovering drug addict,
Oh.
and yeah, it's don't worry, it's not as R-rated as the fan film though, the Power/Rangers film. Did you see the Power/Rangers fan film?
Yes, I personally love Power/Rangers. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. It got mixed reception from people that were like Power Rangers fans. Like I saw some people that were like, "Oh no, that was just a Michael Bay version of Power Rangers," and I was like, "Not really." I mean, they didn't make women look orange.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna.
I mean,
And here's the thing about Michael Bay.
Michael Bay probably would have just screwed up Kimberly.
I think Michael Bay is a terrible filmmaker, but here's the thing: is that Power Rangers is special effects and explosions at heart. Michael Bay does explosions and special
I'm glad
effects.
he's not directing it though. I was kind of afraid that he would end up directing it because he's the type of guy that likes to ruin your childhood with Transformers and Ninja Turtles.
I don't hate the new Ninja Turtles movies, to be honest. I knew it was going to be terrible, and so I went in knowing it was going to be terrible, and I just had a good time with it.
It was bad, but it wasn't as bad as I expected.
It was bad, but I won't say I didn't have. I had a heck of a time watching it. That's like a big guilty pleasure of mine. It's just a super fun movie to me.
Yeah. I mean, it was bad, but I mean, it wasn't as awful as it could have turned out. I'm still not excited for the Out of the Shadows movie, the sequel, because here's the thing: whenever somebody look at the first Transformers movie, a lot of people went back and said, "Oh no, it's not really that bad. Maybe the sequel will be phenomenal." And then look what happened.
Yeah. I mean.
And then also look what happened with Transformers 3. They said, "Oh, look, we have Patrick Dempsey. It must be good." And now you have Stephen Amell, so they're like, "Oh, it must be good."
Well, I love Stephen Amell, but
yeah, but he can't make a movie good.
True.
I mean, here's the thing: he's a great actor, but just because he's in a movie doesn't automatically make the movie good. Like if you all of a sudden replaced Chris O'Donnell with Stephen Amell in Batman and Robin, then the movie would not have been better. I mean, his acting might have been better, but the movie wouldn't have been better.
Here's the thing about Out of the Shadows trailer. It looks brain dead. It looks so stupid and just.
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna have an amazing time watching it, just because it's gonna be so terrible. But I'm just gonna love every single moment of it.
Tyler freaking Perry is in it. Tyler Perry's the villain. That's all I'm gonna say. Tyler Perry is the bad guy.
Do you think there'll be an accident that happens in his lab that turns him into a woman?
Oh yeah. They're probably just gonna give him like cheap jokes to say.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be like Richard Pryor in Superman 3, where he just goes around making jokes.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what are your thoughts on the current Sentai they're doing? The Ninja.
I've not seen it. I think the costumes look cool. I think those look cool.
Yeah, the costumes are cool. This is like one of the, if they made this into a Power Rangers season, which they probably will. Here's my thing. I'm guessing that from now on they're probably just going to adapt to like every 2 Power Rangers seasons, because they skipped Go Busters just to do the Dino Charge.
Yeah, do you think they're gonna skip Tokuger?
They might, which is a shame. Although I could, if they do that after I do Task Force, I could adapt that. But I mean, sadly, they're probably going to skip that, which is a shame because I think that has a lot of potential. Because the concept just has a lot of potential. Like what they could do in an adapt, like the Conductor, there's a lot of potential to make the Conductor like a great mentor. And what they could do is they could basically say, I'm hoping that it's like a train that kind of time travels. And so they could say that they could have like all the Power Rangers be from like different times.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. And then they could have like one of them that's from the future and one of them that's from the present day.
Yeah, that would be interesting actually.
Yeah. There's another fan series on the internet, which is an adaptation of Go Busters, not Ghostbusters, Go Busters, which is called Power Rangers Spy Central.
Spice. I'll look that up.
Yeah, there's like 3 episodes so far. I think you can be in it if you want. They're looking for people. I think they're looking for somebody to play like a young Adam.
All right.
Like what they basically do is they take archive footage from the fans and they edit that together.
Yeah.
And they take obviously archive footage from Go Busters. I'm trying to contact Chris Lee to see if he wants to, because he's not that big an actor. He's like pretty contactable. So I'm hoping that I can get a hold of him so that he can like send a cameo for Task Force Episode 1.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of references to Andros.
This does look interesting, actually.
Yeah. Which is why they mentioned Astronema in the trailer.
Yeah. I'm actually I was actually gonna do something similar to this with what was it gonna be? I was gonna do something similar to this with gosh, what was it gonna with not Dino Charge, Kyuruger. I was gonna do something like this with it. I was gonna try to adapt it to or a Common Rider series. I was gonna do something like that. But I was gonna try to make it so it wasn't Power Rangers. I was calling it like Jurassic Troopers or something like that. And it was gonna be interesting, but I didn't know how I was gonna go about getting all that footage. So I just decided. Yeah.
What I basically did was DDS Studios, who keeps commenting. I pretty much asked him to download some of it. And again, I'm just doing a pilot, and if the pilot takes off, or if like I have like enough schedule time, I might make it into a series. But I will, at least the pilot will be happening.
All right, sweet. I can't wait to see it, honestly.
Yeah. There's a lot of references to Andros. And it's sort of like a threequel to In Space, but it doesn't take place before. A lot of people thought it was going to take place before Lightspeed Rescue. It doesn't, but it's kind of like what happened since the last 20 years since In Space.
All right. Sounds interesting.
Yeah. So, what other films are you planning on working on, do you think?
I kind of have. I do have a film, that I am working on. I don't want to say too much about it because I have a. It's going to be really interesting because the marketing and everything is going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep quiet about it for now, but it's going to be. It's going to make people. Hopefully, it's going to make people interested in stuff like that. But
Yeah. So, anyways, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Sorry. I'm just thinking what else to ask you. So have you seen Tokyo, or I don't know how to pronounce it.
Tokyo.
Yeah, Tokyo, I guess. Yeah, it's always hard to pronounce the title of the Sentais. Like yesterday, I was doing a report on the next one because they released a picture of what the next one is going to look like.
Yeah, I have seen that new picture for the new one. They look not as bad as Tokyo, but they're close.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the costumes for Tokyo, but I love the concept.
Mm-hmm.
I think
the helmets on the new.
That's the first time they have an Orange Ranger.
Yeah, I was very excited for something different besides like gold and silver or something.
Yeah, silver and gold.
I like the helmets on the new costumes, whatever the new one's called. I like the helmets. The helmets are cool.
Yeah, the Ninja. Yeah, I really, really like it. I like the helmets on the Ninja. I think that the Ninja kind of has potential, but I don't think Nick should do it because they already had Samurai, which was a ninja-themed season. Sort of. I mean, but yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I think Power Rangers has had way too many. I think it's like they've had a ton of ninja seasons. So I think they should try something new.
I like ninjas though. I mean, what if it was
it's just they've done it way too often. It's like they had Ninja Storm. Well, technically, first they had the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. There was the one episode where they turned into ninjas because they lost their powers.
And in the movie, they became ninjas too.
And then there was the Alien the Alien Ninjas were adapted from the Alien Rangers was adapted from a ninja themed Sentai. And then they had Ninja Storm. And then they had Jungle Fury, which was kind of it's supposed to be animal themed, but they kind of had ninjas worked into that. And then they had Samurai.
I hate that.
Yeah, Samurai. I hated Samurai. Yeah. Have you heard of Power Rangers Hexagon?
Yes, the pitch for what Ninja Storm eventually became, right?
Yeah, the adaptation for Hurricaneger. Yeah,
Yeah.
what was supposed to happen is we talked about this. DDS Studios and I talked about this in our live ranking all the Power Rangers seasons video. But what was originally supposed to happen was Tommy was supposed to be a government agent, and he was supposed to recruit these three teenagers, and Scorpino was supposed to come back, and all these different villains from the Mighty Morphin era were supposed to come back, and it was supposed to be. They said it was Civil War years before Civil War happened in Marvel, and like that's basically straight from the horse's mouth. That's what the guy who wrote it said. And so what was supposed to happen was, they were supposed to, they were supposed to. It was going to be revealed that one of the Red Ranger was going to be the main bad guy's son.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, I haven't seen all of Dino Charge season 1 yet. But I'm wondering if Fury is actually. I don't know if they've revealed this or not, but I'm wondering if Fury is actually the Red Ranger's father.
I'm actually, I still, like I said, I haven't
Yeah.
I haven't seen most of it, but
You know the cat villain guy who was in Dino Charge?
yes.
Yeah, he is. That's Fury. Supposedly, he is. Well, I'm wondering if he's the Red Ranger's father because he said to him, "Oh, you're weak, just like your father," and he's like, "What do you know about my father?" And then he was about to and then finally Fury basically knocked the Red Ranger down, and he said, "Time to finish you," and he was about to like hit him with the sword, but then this force basically stopped him from doing it, like this yellow goop type of, well, not really goop, but like mystical stuff basically stopped him from doing it.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if it's like with Mesagog, where it's like the Jekyll and Hyde type of thing.
Maybe.
Yeah. But but in Hexagon originally, what's his name was supposed to be the what's his name the one of the villains, the main villain was supposed to be his father, the Red Ranger's father, and they were going to say that the Green Ranger from Lightspeed Rescue was going to be the guy that flew their jet.
Mm-hmm.
And Tommy obviously was going to be the mentor, like in Dino Thunder. And then at the very end of this, and then the Rangers that they were fighting, that they were opposing, basically they were two of the Rogue Rangers were going to join them as the Navy Ranger and the Crimson Ranger from Ninja Storm. And then at the very end of the season, Tommy was going to be the main villain. He was going to be the final boss, pretty much. And he was going to go up again. Like, basically, it was like Civil War, but with Tony Stark replaced with Tommy and Captain America replaced with Jason. Because they were going to oppose each other, which is ironic because in real life, Jason David Frank and Austin St. John actually fought each other.
Yeah, don't they just like hate each other or something like that?
Yeah, he called him like a liar. Jason David Frank called him like a liar at one point. Because he according to him, he lied about being a wrestler. But what basically was supposed to happen is at the very end, the Green Ninja Ranger, the Green Samurai Ranger, was supposed to be Tommy.
Really?
And then the guy who did that, I believe he also wrote Reinforcements from the Future, the Wild Force two-parter, and he was also a whatchamacallit, a showrunner on Power Rangers, and you can actually contact him over Tumblr.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I'm waiting for a reply from him, but yeah, there's this place where you can ask him questions on Tumblr. He has this whole section where you can ask him questions, and I'm basically Task Force is going to take elements from Hexagon and sort of rework them. But what he was also going to do, he also had some other ideas for Power Rangers. Like, he was originally supposed to write Samurai. He came up with an idea for Samurai that they never used.
Oh yeah,
And
I think I heard about that. It was like really crazy.
yeah, but you know how like they had Spike, Skull's son.
Yeah.
Yeah. Originally they were gonna have Bulk's son rather than Skull's son,
Mm-hmm.
and I think his name was gonna be Eugene, and he was gonna be the Gold Ranger.
Huh. Cool.
Although Antonio is probably the only tolerable part of Samurai,
Mm-hmm.
to be fair, because he was the only actor who felt like he gave a crap about being there. Like every
Yeah,
other actor just felt like they couldn't act their way out of a box.
yeah, that guy seems like he'd be a cool dude just to hang out with.
Yeah,
Seems
he
pretty
felt like
chill.
he actually was having fun playing a Power Ranger. Like everybody else just felt like, well, can we just get this over with? Like I want to go home and I want to get my paycheck and I want to go home, you know. And all of them were like, "Gee, Gio, want to go look for flowers today?" Like they just talked very robotically. And the same thing went for Megaforce, but that's part of the reason why I like Dino Charge. It's because the acting is actually improved on
Yeah.
Dino Charge. Like they don't talk like they're a cardboard box.
Yeah. That's the main reason I was still um watching it
Mm-hmm.
when
What's your favorite season of the show?
Dino Thunder.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Hold on.
Let's see if there's any questions.
Okay. But yeah, my favorite season would have to be whatchamacallit? Time Force.
Yeah, Time Force is good. I haven't seen all of it though.
Yeah. Oh, wait till you get to the end of time. Basically, the Master fights the Doctor, and the Doctor regenerates. And no, I'm just kidding. But there was actually a Doctor Who episode called The End of Time.
Yeah.
Which was ironically the title of the finale for Time Force. And the ending, you could tell that the ending was copied for Doomsday, the Doctor Who episode, where they're on the beach.
Yeah.
Do you watch Doctor Who?
I have not watched it in a while. I did enjoy the show when I was watching it like religiously, but I just haven't seen it in a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, wait till you get to season 9.
Is that the one with new guy? What's his
Yes.
face?
Well, they had season 8 and season 9.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to tell you? Have you seen season 8?
No.
Do you want me to
Have
tell you a
not.
spoiler or?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Master comes back.
All right. Sweet.
Yeah, and the Master is now a female.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then in season 9, Davros comes back, the creator of the Daleks.
Oh, okay. Okay, right.
Yeah. Well, let me see if there are any other questions from anybody. Hold on. Yeah, somebody said, sorry if, oh yeah, the guy who asked about the custom thing, he said, sorry if I'm asking this again. I have seen RPC studios before. They cost a lot of money to make. I can't find New Blood Studios on Facebook. I found one, but it doesn't look like it makes costumes.
Let me look. Where's my? Let me look.
And DDS Studios is thinking about using footage from Kamen Rider for his Power Rangers series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Have you seen Linkara's history of any of the Linkara's history of Power Rangers thing?
I have seen some.
Yeah. Which ones have you seen?
I've seen all of the Mighty Morphin ones. I can't remember exactly which ones I've all seen. I know I've seen all the Mighty Morphin ones for sure.
Yeah. Did you see my my last video of 2015?
Was it the video where you were just talking and there was a picture of me?
Yeah. That's the
Yes.
thumbnail I'm gonna use for this video.
All right. Okay, so real quick, there is a New Blood web. It's called the New Blood Web Workshop. The header is a Spider-Man. Is a Spider-Man picture, and there's a couple things here and there. You can buy. He has some patterns up for sale that you can buy, and I think they're like $20 or something like that. I've actually been thinking about buying one from him, possibly. So can I? I'm gonna give a bit of a scoop about what possibly Night in New York, the sequel, will be, if it happens.
Yep.
I got two options right now. It's
Okay.
either to make a new Spider-Man, it's like a Spider-Verse movie where the Night in New York Spider-Man meets up with the new Spider-Man and he teaches him how to be Spider-Man. Or it's a straight up sequel to Night in New York and it'll be Miles and Peter, and it'll probably in some way adapt the Black Suit storyline, just because that's one storyline I've always wanted to adapt, but just never got around to it. I was thinking about just rebooting altogether and just making a Black Suit movie, just because I like that story, and I that's the one story I've never ever made to making, but that's the one I really want to make.
Well, if you like live near any other people that do fan films, you could contact them and say, "Hey, you want to do Spider-Verse?"
Yeah, I've actually thought of ways to do that, to have multiple Spider-Men show up. I just would have to decide if that's the one I'm going to do. If I do either of them, neither of these are confirmed, guys. Just keep that in mind. Right now, main focus is Punisher.
Mm-hmm. What is your favorite Spider-Man fan film?
My favorite, Intractable.
Yeah. Mine is A Greater Calling.
A Greater Calling is really good.
Yeah. Have you seen The Green Goblin's Last Stand?
Yes. Unfortunately, I had not seen that one before I made my top 10 Spider-Man fan films list, but that would have been at least in the top 5. I like that fan film. There's also what I like more than that fan film is the documentary he has about the making of it, because that's just really interesting.
Yeah, same thing. Something similar happened with me, unfortunately. I did something called I did the top 7 best Spider-Man fan films list.
That was the first video of yours I ever saw.
Yeah, and I did Unfortunately, I did not see the whatchamacallit, Eyes of May. Have you seen Eyes of May?
Yeah, Isa May is really good too. That would be
Oh,
on the
I
on the
would have put
new.
that at like number 2 or something. If
Hmm.
I had seen it, if it had, I don't think it had come out before.
I don't think it had either.
Yeah. I heard that the guy who did Intractable is working on Marvel Knights Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, I did hear that too. He's doing special effects for them.
I think I saw your top 10 best Spider-Man fan films list. Is that the one with Ultimate Spider-Man 2?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I
it's
saw that one.
it's my most popular video. It has a close to 5,000 views now.
Was that the one where the one person said, "Oh, you should put Spider-Man Eclipse on there," and you were like, "Yeah, not a big fan of
Yeah,
that."
I did say, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Spider-Man Eclipse.
Yeah,
I think it's well made. I think otherwise it was kind of, I don't know.
meh.
It was meh.
Yeah, I can see that. So, do you subscribe to Venom 2 Million?
Yes.
See, he has Craven in Marvel's Spider-Man 2017.
That's actually been the most prevailing rumor about the villain, even though, like I said, I think it should be
Yeah.
Scorpion.
Oh wow, Joe and Anthony Russo fought hard to get Tom Holland cast as Spider-Man.
Well, who else would they have cast?
Well, I know Chris Hemsworth suggested Tom Holland because he's in a movie with them.
Yeah,
I think that's why they had the picture of what's his name, John Bernthal. I don't think it had anything to do with Spider-Man being in Daredevil.
yeah.
I think it was just, you know,
I think they know each other. Honestly, I think they have
well,
some sort of
they're in a
connection.
movie together.
They did a movie together.
So, right. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that. But that's all.
next year they're going to do.
That's also something I want to see. I want to see like Daredevil team up with Spider-Man and Spider-Man team up with the Punisher. And
I really would, but I don't know if they're going to do that.
yeah. What if they do get the rights to Fantastic Four back, which some rumors suggest they already do, but a good scene for that movie would be kind of like the Spider-Man movies equivalent to the Ant-Man and Falcon scene, where it's that scene from the Amazing Spider-Man 1 where he asked the Fantastic Four for a job and they're just like, what do you think we are, a business?
Yeah,
because that's a scene that I would love to see put to.
I would like to see Fox keep the rights to X-Men.
Yes,
I don't want X-Men.
yeah, they can keep them. They've been doing a good job in the past couple of years.
Yeah, and also they have Inhumans in the MCU.
Yeah. I think eventually all the rights will revert directly back to Marvel, and they'll do some sort of like Secret Wars event, so where they can reboot the entire universe and get rid of all the actors that don't want to be in it anymore, and they can just reboot the whole thing.
Yeah, I think they might do that, but I mean, there's also I do think that one day they will eventually end because they do. I do think they will end at one point, simply because I just don't think they can go on forever, and I think part of the thing is eventually, because they keep doing the same formula. The thing is they're very formulaic, and I think eventually they're gonna, you know, sort of, people will get tired. Like right now, people like it, but they'll eventually get tired of it.
I mean, Steven Spielberg said that superhero movies will probably go the way of the Western. They'll die out eventually, and that probably is true. But right now, I don't even want to think about that. I'm enjoying most, if not all, the superhero movies that come out. So
yeah, I don't know if superhero movies in general will. I think it'll just be, what I think it will be is eventually It might, because in the 80s, like, horror movies were really popular. Now horror movies are just kind of, they've died out, sort of.
And all the ones that come out now are basically terrible.
Yeah, they're cliche. They're like, oh, the idiot goes into the basement. Great. Oh, let me guess. A box is going to fall down and hit that person. Ooh, so scary.
Let me guess, he's going to turn on the lights and he's going to get scared by something, but in actuality, it's just like his friend or something.
Yeah, whatchamacallit, I'm trying to think what it was called. Creepypastas. Have you heard of creepypastas?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of them are good, but many of them are cliched.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole channel that makes fun of bad creepypastas.
Oh, what's that called? I need to look that up.
Bad creepypasta.
Oh.
Hold on, let me look up bad creepypasta. I'll find out the user's name. It's like his actual name is the name of the account. Michael it's Michael Larowi. It's spelled MichaelLeRoi.
All right, I'll look that up.
Bad, and he makes fun of Jeff the Killer a lot.
Like you should.
Yeah. Creepy. Yeah. The creator. It turns out that the person who created Jeff the Killer did not create the creepypasta. There's actually a video on YouTube where somebody introduced Jeff, and it has under 1 million views, which surprised me considering how popular Jeff is.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, he was interviewed by Scare Theater.
Mm-hmm.
And Scare Theater talked about how he didn't get any money off of Jeff the Killer because somebody stole his idea and put it into a creepypasta. And he said he didn't like the creepypasta because it was too teenagery.
Yeah.
And he said he does have a company though that like shuts down people that try to make stuff like that. Like there's a campaign to try and make a Jeff the Killer movie.
Oh, really?
And they're trying to shut that down right now. Like there's a Kickstarter where they're like, oh, the more money you put in, the more bloody the thing is.
That could go the way of the Slender Man movie.
They made a Slender Man movie?
Well, it's not like an official movie. It was an indie movie made by a couple guys, but it's not very good. There's some creepy parts, but it's kind of it's cliched and it's, I don't know. Slender Man's not very scary, at least not in the movie. But there is a guy who kidnaps children to give them the Slender Man, and I found him creepier.
It's Mr. Bear from 1999, isn't it?
No, it's just some guy whose son got taken by Slender Man, so now he's giving him children so that he can get his son back. And that's actually kind of interesting, but the rest of it's kind of cliched and whatnot.
Yeah. I was thinking about making a creepypasta short film, but if I ever do, like around Halloween, it'll probably be for Gateway of the Mind.
I was thinking of making a show that was kind of like Supernatural meets Ghostbusters. It was going to be called Creepypasta Hunters, and it was going to be about these like police officers that would track down characters from creepypastas.
Have you heard of Gateway of the Mind?
No.
Oh, that's a great one. It's basically this guy. They do these experiments on this one guy, and there's actually one on Mr. Rebsian's channel. And he barely does creepypastas, but it's basically they limit this guy's some of his senses, and eventually they basically do the scientific experiment to try and get closer to God.
Mm-hmm.
And so eventually, he claims he spoke to his dead wife, and he's an elderly man. He's the only one who volunteered because he claimed he had nothing else to live for. So he claims he saw his dead wife or heard the sounds of his dead wife, and so they don't believe him at first. But then he mentions that he also heard the screams of the other dead family members that they had, that they never told him about, but actually existed. And so they continue the process, and then finally he starts going crazy, and he starts like trying to like kill himself pretty much unintentionally. So they finally stop the experiment. And so he says to them, I've spoken with God, and he has abandoned us.
Hmm.
And that's how and then the creepypasta ends with him, like, basically just dying, not being, like, stabbed or anything, but just dying right there on the spot.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It was one of the ones that really questioned reality. I also really like the Russian sleep experiment.
I have heard about that one. My
That
favorite,
was weird.
my favorite that I've heard. I've not, and I usually just watch videos on them. I like the one about the Mickey Mouse that like rips its head
Abandoned
off
by
or
Disney.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the guy who made that made some pretty famous other creepypastas. He made one called what was it? Funny Mouth. Funny Mouth. He made Funny Mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also made another one which I really like called Lost Episodes, which is basically he takes one of the really cliched topics of creepypasta and he makes them non-cliched.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much what happens in it is he's talking about you know, he basically what happens is he's talking about this one kid who was good at editing all these films together.
Mm-hmm.
And at first he didn't like the old Yeller ending, so he changed it so that the dog lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so then but then after that, he starts to go a little crazy as he
Mm-hmm.
gets older, and he starts making like bad endings.
Yeah.
Like he would take like a sitcom and he would like destroy, and he would make like a really bad ending to it,
Hmm.
like a really violent ending. And so, so basically after that, the friend who's the narrator of the story, he says that he went back to his house to visit him, and so he found, and he like the whole place was just had all this really long grass everywhere. The grass hadn't been cut.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and everything was moldy and everything, and the house was just run down. So he finally went into the parents' bedroom to see the parents dead and their bodies were rotting.
Mm-hmm.
So then he goes down to the basement and he sees Sid, and he's like, even though he was obese at the beginning of the story, now he's like skeletally skinny, and so then his head is connected to a computer, and then Sid is like a cartoon on the TV, and is
Yeah.
basically his conscience is in the TV as a cartoon.
Huh.
It's really creepy. And then he made a sequel called Sid's Videos, where this one guy buys a collection of Sids, not knowing about Sid, and he starts to figure out something is going on because a lot of like the sitcoms just had like really violent endings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to like explain why all the lost episode creepypastas exist.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, which is why, because a lot of people are like write lost episode creepypastas and say stuff like, "Oh yeah, this is this really kid-friendly company made this thing." It's like, really, you really think they would make that? But like, it actually explains that they're not the ones who make it. It's actually Sid that does it.
That is interesting. My favorite that I've ever heard, definitely my favorite is I think it's called like Anton or something. It's about a guy who
Huh.
finds an android or something, and
That's interesting.
it's not entirely creepy, but
Yeah.
it's really it's a honestly just like it's a really interesting story. It's like
Yeah.
scary ET, and I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm writing a creepypasta at the moment. I just have to edit some parts of it because I have one creepypasta that was removed from the wiki. So I'm writing a new one. Basically, this guy feels he's being chased by this monster, and he's basically in his basement, and he keeps hearing the monster's footsteps until he's finally in this corner. And he's finally cornered by the monster, and then the story cuts to like a blog from his mother who says that there's something. She thinks there's something wrong with him because he kept screaming and yelling when all he was yelling at was thunder.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically supposed to be, supposed to leave it up for interpretation. Was there something more to the thunder, or was he just going crazy?
That's interesting.
Yeah, and then there, Scare Theater, which is a really interesting YouTube channel. He read one of my creepypastas in his live stream. He also wrote a creepypasta, and he was reading it in his one of his videos called "Are You Afraid of Death?" And so what happens is this kid, basically what happens is he gets hit by a car and he dies, but he's still conscious. He just can't move.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's still aware of everything that's going around him. And so basically so he goes to the hospital and they pronounce him dead. And so they close his eyes, and so that limits one of his senses. And so he goes to the funeral, and it's really hard for him. So they bury him in the ground, and they basically say that, there's no way of escaping. They suggest that death is basically you're aware of everything, but you're aware of everything for eternity when you're in the grave underground. And it's really creepy thought just to like lay there not being able to do anything in a grave while bugs feed on your body. It's a really creepy thing to think about.
That is interesting.
Yeah. It's called, I don't know if he posted it to the wiki, but he made a video talking about it called Are You Afraid of Death?
I will definitely look that up.
Yeah, I just don't like the creepypastas that are like really bloody and gory.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just like, I don't mind blood and gore, but if you're going to have blood and gore, have a reason for it.
Yeah. Definitely.
So let's see who else is saying stuff.
Yeah, everyone, you can ask questions. Just any question at all, really.
Did you see what the new Sentai for 2016 is going to look like, the new Super Sentai?
Yeah. I like the helmet. I like the helmets, not the bodies.
Yeah, it's going to be like with Wild Force, where A, they have an animal theme thing, and B, they're going to have a white ranger rather than a pink ranger.
Which I like that.
Oh, look, Spidey SFCU PPSM says, "Hi, Larry, it's Tom."
What's up, man?
Anyways, so yeah, and I watched the promo, the 15-second promo for it, and it looks like aside from the Red Ranger, it looks like all the Rangers are actually going to be animals.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna be
like
more. You know how like on the show Arthur, they have like a talking aardvark, like anthropomorphized aardvark. They're basically all they're gonna be. They're gonna walk around like humans, but they're gonna be like sort of like half human, half animal. I guess it's like cross species genetics. I guess.
Furry Force.
DDS Studio says, "How do you become the person of the week? You just have to schedule. You just have to talk to me. Schedule ahead of time." DDS Studios. Yeah. So how long have we been doing this?
Bit over an hour.
We've been doing this for like 2 hours because we started at like 1, and now it's 3 o'clock.
All right, everybody ask questions, and then we can wrap this up.
Yeah.
Any questions? Punisher, Night in New York, anything? Personal life, I might answer.
Yes, ask him questions. Ask him questions.
Why did you decide to stop doing Spidey and become Punisher? Because Punisher is it's different than Spidey, and I definitely wanted to, and that was from Spidey SFCU PPSM.
Yeah.
I just want to do something different, and when I was disappointed with what I did with I was disappointed with what I did with Night in New York, and I just wanted to try something a little bit different, something to kind of branch out with. I've never done a lot of sort of weapon and gunplay, so I thought it'd be cool to try out some action scenes like that and other things like that.
hmm Now, I have a lot of people asking if they want to become Person of the Week. Eventually, yes, but I have a bunch of other people scheduled. Like, I have somebody next week who's going to be scheduled for episode 2 of Person of the Week. I think probably next week I might do Spidey FCU, Spidey SFCU PPSM, just because he seems to be the most prepared so far. Or I might do Marcos Lee Piggy Inc. because supposedly this week his new Spider-Man fan film A New Age is supposed to come out.
Doesn't it come out like the 7th or something like that? The 12th or something?
Yeah, because he's finished filming. He just has to. I think he might even be finished editing. But he said like 12 days it was going to come out.
Yeah.
Like a couple days ago, he said in 12 days it will be coming out.
Yeah.
And he left a comment on this on the chat saying, "Happy New Year, bro." So Happy New Year, Piggy Inc.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, I don't know if you're still watching, but yeah. But yeah, eventually I will get to you. Also, Mr. Rebsian will probably be on here. Here to talk about, his views on everything.
Yeah.
His channel is pretty much an opinion-based channel. Okay, and 100 Bomb Studio says, okay, I'm just saying I'm free anytime for Person of the Week. Okay, I think we might eventually have you on. By the way, I'm hoping to get somebody like really big for like my 5-year anniversary in February.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my 5-year YouTube anniversary. I mean, obviously, a lot of people were like, wait, didn't you just have a 3-year anniversary? And that was for Instagram. But, 5 years is a big milestone.
Now, I normally don't tell people this, but I am actually very close friends with Shia LaBeouf. And I
really?
No.
Are you close friends with anybody? Famous?
No. There's a girl at my school. Well, she doesn't go there anymore. I think she graduated, but she was on a Disney Channel show for a little bit. Couple seasons, I think.
What was it called?
Kicking It. She was the chick, blonde hair.
Oh, her?
Yeah, she went to my school.
Did you know her?
No, she was. I think when she got cast and left, I think she was already a senior, and I was just starting as a freshman. Well, no, wait. When she got cast, she was like a junior in high school, and I was in 6th grade. So
yeah,
something like that.
I think I have to go now, but thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And next week we'll probably have either Marcos Lee or Spidey, all that. But thank you all for joining us. Goodbye.